We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
The Dialogue, the community voice of Southern California's young professional network. Relevant discussions about the thoughts, concerns, opportunities, and challenges faced by today's generational leaders. Real talk, real people. This is The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles on LA Talk Live and streaming live at www.latalklive.com.
Swear I'm always on the go. Grinding 24 and hard. I promise I ain't never stop. Tell me what you know about.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to The Dialogue. Real talk, real people. I'm your host, Kenya Kirkland, the style icon, filling in for Starlett Quarles, and we are streaming live on talklive.com. And as always, The Dialogue is the voice of our generation. So thank you for joining us every Wednesday right here from 5 to 6 p.m. where we like to discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. Tonight, we will discuss the beauty of Black culture and our impact on the fashion industry. This is the perfect time for this conversation as the George Washington University Textile Museum is wrapping up its exhibit called Inspiring Beauty, 50 Years of Ebony Fashion Fair. It's disappointing for me to admit that as a designer who manufactures and produces my own collection and content, I was not fully aware of Ebony Fashion Fair. I mean, of course, I've heard of Ebony Fashion Fair. Of course, I know what the Johnson publication did for the industry, but I really didn't know the weight and how much Eunice Johnson actually contributed to the fashion industry and to generations to come. I studied fashion design in merchandising at FITM. I also took classes at Clark Atlanta, and in neither of those experiences did I really learn much about Eunice Johnson or Ebony Fashion Fair. And I didn't understand how impactful they were to both domestic and the international industries. Growing up, I enjoyed the beauty represented in both ebony and jet, but what I learned about the industry, I hate to admit, came from Vogue and Sex and the City. I'm sure some of you guys can agree with me. As a result, I always felt as though I was fighting to be a part of the industry, and it really didn't welcome me. I didn't know about the generations of people who paved the way in this billion-trillion-dollar industry of fashion and beauty, and I'm not proud to say, but I know that I'm not alone. I'm extremely grateful that one of our guests on tonight's show, Ms. Faye Mosley, founded the Fashion Legacy Association for Industry Recognition, better known as Flair Inc., with the specific mission of educating and mentoring students of color in the industry and really letting people know and honoring the legacy of Eunice Johnson and Ebony Fashion Fair. Tonight on The Dialogue, we'll discuss this topic much further. And our topic is the beauty of Black culture and our impact on the fashion industry. And to join me in this conversation, I've invited three amazing guests. We have Miss Faye Clark Mosley, Clark Mosley, founder of Flair Inc. and former beauty fashion fair model.
Yes.
We also have calling in later in the show, Mrs. Judy Pace, legendary award-winning actress and former model for Ebony Fashion Fair. And then we have Botany Kalfani, designer and cast member of season 16 Project Runway. Let me take care of some business before I formally introduce you to the ladies. As always, this is a community conversation, so we definitely want to hear from you today on tonight's topic. So make sure you call us at 323-473-3100. You can also post your comments or questions on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Mrs. Kenya K. Tweet me. I'm on Twitter as well, and we will try to get to some of your questions. You can tweet me at the Style Icon. That's THEE Style Icon. And of course, you can always stay connected to us by joining our mailing list at thedialoguela.com, where you can also find replays of past discussions. Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'll introduce you to these amazing ladies, and we'll jump into the conversation on the beauty of Black culture and our impact on the fashion industry.
The Southern California chapter of the National Organization of Minority Architects, SoCal NOMA, is proud to present its 8th annual Architecture and Engineering Summer Camp for 2017, Saturday, July 15th, 22nd, and the 29th, with project presentations on August 5th. Exposing our youth to the built environment, the camp will be taught by industry leaders in architecture, engineering, urban planning, and interior design. The campers will also enjoy field trips, hands-on projects, prizes, and more. It all takes place at Los Angeles Southwest College, located 1600 West Imperial Highway, Los Angeles, California. Students ages 10 through 16 can register to attend, and registration fee for all 4 days is just $100 with lunch and snacks provided. For more information or registration, go to www.socalnoma.org. That's www.socalnoma.org. Or contact the summer camp directors at campregister@socalnoma.org. That's campregister@socalnoma.org. The 8th annual SoCal NOMA Summer Camp, exposing our youth to the built environment, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live.
Interested in advertising your business, product, or service here on The Dialogue? The Dialogue will help you promote your business, increase your traffic, and bring in new clients through innovative and creative marketing packages, including affordable radio ad campaigns for small businesses. Go to www.thedialoguela.com or call 323-475-8729. That's 323-475-8729. 323-475-8729. And now, back to The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles. Real talk, real people.
Welcome back to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. And tonight we're discussing the beauty of Black culture and our impact on the fashion industry. As always, this is a community conversation, so make sure you give us a call. We welcome those calls. We're looking forward to callers. So definitely give us a call at 323-473-3100. Once again, that's 323-473-3100. Or you can post your comments on Facebook right here on my page, facebook.com/Mrs. Kenya K, or tweet me at @TheStyleIcon, and we'll try and answer some of your questions on tonight's show. So now let me introduce our guests. First, I want to start off with Miss Faye Clark Mosley.
Yes.
A formal model turned businesswoman. Yay. Clap, clap, clap. Faye is the founder of Fashion Legacy Association for Industry Recognition, FLAIR, which comprises of more than 500 former Ebony Fashion Fair models, commentators, and staff who participated during the 51-year run of the iconic fashion show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so pleased to have you. I'm looking forward to getting into this conversation and really just getting into the history of African Americans in the fashion industry.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll also have Judy Pace on. This award-winning actress was dubbed by a reviewer of the Daily Variety as the most beautiful African American woman in Hollywood, known as the Black Beauty. Pace was the first African American actress to be under a player's contract with Columbia Pictures, 20th Century Fox, and have a 3-picture deal with American International Pictures. A lot of us are familiar with this iconic beauty.
Wow.
And I just can't wait to hear from her. She'll be calling in shortly. She couldn't be in studio today, but we look forward to hearing from her and hearing her experience and who she learned from and how her body of work is impacting generations to come. We also have Botany Kalfani, who I have had the pleasure of working with. And I mean, her work is just amazing. I believe this is definitely a legend in the making. We are witnessing history by watching her just climb the ranks. She's not only a designer, but a dancer, a model, a modeling coach, and cast member of season 16, Project Runway. So congratulations on that. I know the show is to air August 17th, so we want you guys all to make sure you tune in on the 17th and throughout the season so we can support our very own Inglewood raised and bred Botany Calfani.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Let's jump into the conversation a little bit. One thing I wanted to go back to was the Iconic Fashion Fair show had a 51-year run.
Wow.
51 years. So tell us a little more about that 51-year run. At what point did you join and start participating? And I know in our initial conversation, you kept saying, and the tour, and I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean the tour? What is that? Break that down for us.
Absolutely. Like any other live production that tours, similar to stage or theatrical productions, Ebony Fashion Fair was a live theatrical production.
Wow.
It delivered haute couture fashion in a live format, very entertaining for 51 years. It started in 1958. The last show was 2009. And for 51 years, we delivered fashion to audiences across the country, in the Caribbean and abroad. And we had an amazing, amazing cast. Different individuals that you will hear me talk about today were a part of that and launched their careers as a result of the exposure from Ebony Fashion Fair.
Wow. Who do we hear?
Oh, is this?
Okay, sorry. Lost my train of thought. Got it. So, I know what I want to ask you next. The tour, 51 years, you said, really toured the U.S. and what we know now of entertaining theatrical shows, exciting catwalks was born at Ebony Fashion Fair.
Absolutely. The most over-the-top garments, the most outrageous garments, some that could be worn, some that could only really be visualized and not really thought of to be adorned on one's body. But it really highlighted African-American designers, American and European designers in
like
a way.
Whom?
African-American designers such as, let's start with Stephen Burroughs.
Okay.
When you talk about infamous African-American designers, Patrick Kelly, we celebrated him posthumously in our 2015 event in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's talk about Kevin Hall, local here in Los Angeles. We will be showcasing Kevin in our event next week.
Okay.
Let's talk about Michael Kilgore, Winston and Lee. Angela Dean is another local artist.
Okay.
Angela has been a big supporter of Fashion Fair.
Linda Stokes. You nodding. Are you familiar with
these names?
These designers?
I am.
Linda Stokes.
Growing up, I would always look in Jet magazine and see Ebony Fashion Fair, and I would just be like, oh, I want to be there one day. Also, just, researching the designers, like you just said, Kevin Hall, I've always, admired him. Even designers like Willie Smith.
Absolutely, Fashion Fair. Willie Smith.
Designers like that.
Fair.
Just growing up, revering them, like Black designers, and I'm a Black designer.
Absolutely.
And just going forward on my journey, just, having them as inspiration.
Absolutely.
During our conversation, Faye, we Googled, I think you Googled, African-American designers. And
exactly.
We were kind of shocked at what came up. Kanye, Rihanna, can you remember any of the other names? But definitely people that are more licensing or have a designer working under them, not African-American designers. What's wrong with that?
It's more of a celebrity culture now that drives fashion. It's, I feel like if you have a brand and if you have a presence and you have the popularity, then you can get any type of so-called brand behind you to put your name out there and everything like that.
lean closer to it.
Yeah. And so, it's just a celebrity-driven culture for everything. Anything that is going on in fashion, art, anything, if a celebrity is behind it, it's going to get out there. And it doesn't have to really be fashion, though.
Yeah.
It's not really.
And I think it also washes it down, and it makes, it hurts the generations after because they're following something that's not really truly authentic.
Yeah.
I mean, not to take anything away from the celebrities, but there's someone behind them whose art and creativity is not being exposed, and they're, kind of being forced to take direction and sell a name versus sell their art and their creativity. So
and I feel like the people who really have the talent but don't have the following or the popularity, they don't really get, their work seen because they're not a celebrity.
Imagine if we had Ebony Fashion Fair to go on tour and take African American designers around the country and around the world. And I think that's what
that's
you're
exactly
doing.
What Ebony Fashion Fair did. I mean, Eunice Johnson was an amazingly brilliant entrepreneur. I mean, to talk about the brand itself, Johnson Publishing Company, but her conceptualizing the experience of Ebony Fashion Fair and using that vehicle to both showcase European designers, which she did. She forced European designers to sell to her in an era where they did not want black models to wear their garments because they thought they would be devalued.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so she showcased prominent designers along with emerging up-and-coming designers. And that show was all about inclusivity and ensuring that there was a prominence of African-American designers in that Ebony Fashion Fair experience.
And there was also a mix, as you just said, of couture designers like the Yves Saint Laurent.
You had Yves Saint Laurent, you had Pierre Cardin, you had Givenchy.
How do you think she got them to be a part of her show? Like, I mean, I put on events all the time. I don't even know if I would even.
Did she actually go over to Europe?
She absolutely.
Yeah, she did.
She went over to Europe. She had buyers. Yeah. She had the Shayla Simpsons and the Audrey Smalts of the world, members of Flair, former Fashion Fair commentators, Pam Fernandez, all who will be here next weekend. She had buyers, and they went over to Europe. They attended the shows. They attended the showrooms, and they were told no on many, many occasions for years, but that did not derail her. Eunice Johnson continued to take on that battle and went back time and time again until she forced the European designers to sell to her. And so many people don't know that the garments that you saw for those 51 years were actually owned by Johnson Publishing Company, Ebony Fashion Fair. Not on loan. They were her private collection.
And I wonder if those are the pieces that are on show.
Those are on show. Some of those pieces have been donated to the Chicago History Museum, and they are on a traveling exhibition right now, currently called Inspiring Beauty, 50 Years of Ebony Fashion Fair. And so you can see a design, a patchwork leather design by none other than Lamore Amir. He will be showcased in Flair 2017 next weekend. Lamore had a piece on the Ebony Fashion Fair tour for 20 years, probably the longest running stance of any of African American designers that were showcased in that Ebony Fashion Fair. But you also saw, as I mentioned, the Stephen Burrows, the Patrick Kellys, the Linda Stokes. You know, year after year, there were new up-and-coming designers, the Tracy Reese, even Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey's suits were debuted in Ebony Fashion Fair. They were on the runway. And so for 51 years, along with bringing the audiences that experience, there was also the philanthropic element of raising over $55 million during that 51-year run, which supported so many nonprofits in the African American community that today are very vital and important to the community. So it served a purpose, and it delivered that entertainment value and experience at the same time.
I came across an article when I was doing some research, and I Googled African American, the history of fashion and African Americans. And the article referenced that African American fashion started with kente cloth, and then Black Panther attire, being the leather jackets and afros, and then hoodies that Trayvon Martin wore. Like, that was the article. That was the history of African American fashion
and its evolution.
And I was so disappointed that is the only representation. I mean, it's not the only, but that would even be depicted as solely the evolution of what we create and what we've done.
Well, there are various interpretations of fashion. Listen, the hoodie is very relevant and it's important, and there
Absolutely.
are some fabulous designers out there with more streetwear lines that are very prominent. And then look at our own guest here in the audience today. I was commenting on her African printed
Love her
cloth
collection.
and attire, and you have designers in that space. And so there is absolutely room for all of that in the world of fashion. What's more important, I think, is that we understand that fashion for African Americans has always been such a strong indicator of who we are. You know, in a time when we couldn't speak, your attire spoke for you. And so when you look back at images from the 18th century, the 17th century, you saw African Americans that were very much dressed, suited, ties, pressed, and it was really an indication of who they were, how they carried themselves. And fashion spoke for them when they could not speak otherwise.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like during the Harlem Renaissance, we
Exactly.
had the flapper dresses, we dressed up and everything. During the 50s and 60s, we rocked, the leather,
The pearls,
the
the
afros,
gloves.
African
It
print.
spoke
And,
for us.
it's just, we take everything and we make it amazing. And we are the creators, we are the inventors, and fashion does start with us. They say the kente cloth, okay, let's take it there, but fashion throughout the years starts with us, and we transform it, and we create new things, new ideas. And then when they talked about the hoodies, the hip-hop culture went mainstream. Nobody was doing that. Nobody was wearing hoodies or the jeans or anything like that. Hip-hop culture took everything mainstream in the 80s and the 90s, and so the world has us to thank for this fashion evolution.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about education.
Absolutely. Let's talk about education. Kenya, we had an interesting conversation around education.
We did. Are we teaching children of color the business of fashion? And are we teaching the things, better question is who's teaching? Who's teaching our children of color the business of fashion, or even the skill set that it takes to be a designer? Batinia, I know you're taught. You're self-taught.
She's
I
self-taught.
am
Okay.
self-taught, although I went to high school at downtown Magnets High School, and it had a fashion program, but it wasn't expansive. We had a sewing class. But before that, I taught myself how to sew. My mom bought me a sewing machine when I was like 14, before I started high school, and I just taught myself how to sew. But during that program, like I said, we just had sewing, so I had to do a lot of research on my own and find out, how to sew, what to sew, find out about different fabrics on my own and things like that. And when I went to college, I didn't go to fashion school because I was like, I know certain things already, but I want to get that business side. So I majored in economics and everything like that. So I felt like that would really help me as far as a career in the fashion industry business, because fashion is a business. And so if I got to have the talent part and everything. So if I just get the business and everything correct, then, we can go from there. But I feel like there needs to be more fashion education within these schools. Many young girls and guys, they want to be in the fashion industry, but they just don't know how to get in and what resources they need and, what they need to do and who they need to speak with. And we need to teach them that.
I was one of them. I say trapped in retail, even though it was a blessing. I was trapped in retail for a long time, not understanding how to be more than a consumer of fashion, or just selling it. Like, it's easy to be a sales girl. Everybody can figure that part out. And I grew, my career grew, and I became a manager at several large corporations, but I just couldn't figure out how to get closer to the product, how to actually design and create it until I cracked the code and found, fit them. But what do you think? What can we do?
Well, this is why vehicles like Flair and Ebony Fashion Fair are so important and so relevant. And for Flair's standpoint, we definitely felt that there was a void in terms of educating the current and future generations. And so that is why the focus of our a weekend experience coming up for Flair 2017 focuses on Flair Cares, mentoring, and scholarships. And to your point, we've invited over 27 different fashion and design schools here locally in Los Angeles to participate in our mentoring event, to send students from their fashion and design program. We're so excited about the partnership with LA Trade Tech. They've been serving the Los Angeles community for 90 years.
Yes.
They have 2,500 students in their fashion and design program. We've invited FITM. We've invited Otis. We've invited Parsons, Santa Monica College. Literally, there were about 47 schools here in the Southern California community when we did our research, and we then looked at the attendance of students in those programs, and we ended up inviting 25. And so we are expecting a huge turnout. If you're a fashion and design student and you're listening to this interview and you're trying to find resources and information and be educated about how to get into the industry. And it's not just about being a model or a designer. There are so many other avenues that are available to our students. You can be a photographer, a makeup artist, a hairstylist, a designer, a wardrobe stylist. You can be a sketch artist. You can
there's
pattern
making,
exactly,
print making,
illustrator,
textile design, all of that.
Illustrator, photographer. There were so many careers launched through Ebony Fashion Fair, a fashion blogger, a journalist, etc. And so we are making sure that we inform the students about the different avenues that are available to them. We're providing them with resources as we continue to build out our website, because that information is important because it is missing. I mean, there are schools that can teach you the technical aspects of it. Once you graduate, now what? What do you do? And so Flair is providing scholarships to them. We're paving the way, and we're bringing it forward.
Who taught you as a model? Was there model coaching? Were there lessons? How did you grow and master your craft?
Well, as a little black girl that grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, first and foremost, like most of us, I looked at Ebony and Jet magazine extensively. I started to model locally. There was a local modeling troupe in Jackson, Mississippi, Jackie and Camille Chin, and Winter Breeze Fashions was really how I started. Mm-hmm. I then spread out from there and did a lot of catalog work and department store work, and then my big break came when I had the opportunity to actually audition for Ebony Fashion Fair. And when you heard me mention tour, every year there were auditions. Thousands and thousands of men and women that sent in their photographs, and they hope to be selected to come in to audition, and they only choose 10 of the most gorgeous females and 2 males that represented that tour for that year. And so as the tour grew, so did the production team. We rode around on a customized Greyhound bus. Mm-hmm. We had our backstage production tour with us. We had wardrobe stylists. We had the stage production craft. But in terms of role models, you just seek to join whatever is taking place locally in your community and hope to get your break. And right now, I think the reality shows, afford many individuals the opportunities to get that break when they are not in large metropolitan cities. And that was the route that I took.
Awesome. That is, man, as you were talking, I kept thinking about social media and its impact on our culture, and how you kind of have to fight to find these circles and these influences, but it's super easy to have access to.
Absolutely. It's changed the game because it's opened up that access globally.
Okay, well, I hear the music coming on, so that means we have a break. We will be back. Make sure you give us a call if you have questions. As always, we're a community show, so make sure you give us a call at 323-473-3100. We'll be back shortly.
I worship you. You are here, rearranging destinies. I worship. You are here, turning lives around. Lift up your hands. I worship. I worship. You are here. You are working miracles.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
The Southern California chapter of the National Organization of Minority Architects, SoCal NOMA, is proud to present its 8th annual Architecture and Engineering Summer Camp for 2017, Saturday, July 15th, 22nd, and the 29th, with project presentations on August 5th. Exposing our youth to the built environment, the camp will be taught by industry leaders in architecture, engineering, urban planning, and interior design. The campers will also enjoy field trips, hands-on projects, prizes, and more. It all takes place at Los Angeles Southwest College, located 1600 West Imperial Highway, Los Angeles, California. Students ages 10 through 16 can register to attend, and registration fee for all 4 days is just $100 with lunch and snacks provided. For more information or registration, go to www.socalnoma.org. That's www.socalnoma.org. Or contact the summer camp directors at Camp Register at socalnoma.org. That's Camp Register at socalnoma.org. The 8th annual SoCal NOMA Summer Camp, exposing our youth to the built environment, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live.
Interested in advertising your business, product, or service here on The Dialogue? The Dialogue will help you promote your business, increase your traffic, and bring in new clients through innovative and creative marketing packages, including affordable radio ad campaigns for small businesses. Go to www.thedialoguela.com or call 323-475-8729. That's 323-475-8729. 323-475-8729. And now, back to The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles. Real talk, real people.
Welcome back to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. And tonight we're discussing the beauty of Black culture and our impact on the fashion industry. As always, this is a community conversation, so make sure you give us a call today. Again, the number is 323-473-3100. That's 323-473-3100. Or you can post your comments or questions on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Mrs. Kenya K, or tweet me at The Style Icon. That's THEE Style Icon, and we'll try and answer your question on tonight's show. So, Faye, I wanted to start with you. Can you tell us a little more about Flair? Tell us about the event coming up next Saturday.
Would love to. It's a 2-day event, and so we start on Friday, July 21st at Los Angeles Trade Tech College from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. A free mentoring event. Students, high school students, recent college graduates, you are welcome. Please join us. It's going to be a fabulous event. We will be having mentoring sessions, 9 different rotational mentoring sessions. Audrey Smaltz, the ground crew, a former Fashion Fair commentator, will open up the mentoring session. We will have the amazing Damone Roberts, Beverly Hills, talk about beauty and fashion. He is the preeminent brow king. He has a salon both in Beverly Hills and in New York. He will speak to our students. We have Dale Handy. We have 21 other Ebony Fashion Fair models that will be participating as facilitators, talking to the students, imparting that knowledge, education, wisdom, resources. Then we will conclude with an author event with Pat Cleveland. She will be reading excerpts from her book, her Walking with the Muses. Students that attend the event will receive a free copy, an autographed copy of Pat's book, along with another book from one of our other Ebony Fashion Fair alum, Dr. Linda Smith. It's going to be an amazing, amazing time for the students. It is all about the students. We have some amazing sponsors that are with us and making sure that we are able to do this and to present it to our students at no cost to them. So we're so excited about that. From 9 to 3 at Los Angeles Trade Tech on Friday, July the 21st. That's the mentoring event.
Okay.
And then the second day is our Flair 2017 event. The streets of Los Angeles just got hot. hot. We are going to have so much haute couture coming at you. The audiences will be entertained from the moment that they step onto the red carpet, starting at 6 o'clock p.m. at LA Trade Tech. They have the red carpet experience, interviews where we're celebrating all things fashion and design. We then have a VIP reception. We have dinner. We have a fashion show. Our MC for the event is none other than Ade Lamar from KJLH Morning Radio Show. We go into honoring the 7 individuals that will be honored that evening: Judy Pace, Richard Roundtree, Pat Cleveland, Shayla Simpson, Lamore Amir, Linda Stokes, and Jackie Gill. We are going to talk about the behind-the-scenes glam squad. Jackie Gill was one of our wardrobe stylists. She's now doing some design. She's coming in from Chicago, and it is about celebrating the front of and behind the scenes.
I love that you're incorporating both front of house and back of house.
Both
That's
aspects,
awesome.
both aspects. And so the fashion show will feature 10 wonderful designers, as I heard you talk about: Kevin Hall, Winston and Lee, Kilgore and Sweet, Madeline Kay, Arturo Rios. We're going to highlight one of the LA Trade Tech students that won their Student Gold Thimble Fashion Show award, and that student will be showcased. We're so excited about that. We're showcasing Linda Stokes. We're excited to see Linda again. Linda has been serving this community and globally for over 40 years.
Wow.
And she's a fabulous designer. And so you will see 10 amazing designers in that fashion show. We have former Ebony Fashion Fair models modeling in the fashion show. We have celebrity models coming out, celebrities that will walk that catwalk with us to provide some pizzazz and some fun. And then we move into a little live entertainment and a wonderful post-reception with some other live entertainment experiences. And so from 6 p.m. until 1 a.m. at LA Trade Tech on Saturday, July the 22nd. And the proceeds from that event are what we use to fund our Flair Cares mentoring and scholarship program. You're going to hear from a couple of the scholarship recipients that have been awarded these scholarships the day before. We're going to have them there with us. You're going to see students from the various fashion design schools that have been invited to attend. And tickets are very reasonable. Flair is a 501c3, tax-deductible donations. $150 gets you a reserve ticket to see the full evening experience, or $75 allows you to come in just for the fashion show and post-reception. And then for students, you can get tickets for this wonderful experience for the fashion show and post-reception only for $25
Wow.
with your student ID. We wanted to make it very affordable because it's important that students are there, that they can witness firsthand this wonderful experience in motion,
Absolutely.
in action.
Where do they get tickets? Are tickets only at the door?
Tickets are at the door, but right now they can go to www.flairinc.org. That's www.flairinc.org. Go to the website. You can pull up information on the mentoring event, get applications, read about our scholarship program overview. They can purchase tickets immediately. They can purchase tickets from our Flair Facebook website. And so the information is out there. Please, again, www.flairinc.org.
Okay.
Wow.
And we have, I believe, Miss Judy Pace on the line. Hello.
Hello there, and this is Miss Judy Pace on the line, listening to Miss Faye put those facts out. They roll off the tip of her tongue.
Yes.
She certainly laid it out, and everyone, it is a must-see situation. It is the icons of the fashion industry, and I always think of Ebony Fashion Fair as a great part of our American history. And persons can come and see the ladies who were part of the beauty revolution for African American women in the United States, called the Ebony Fashion Fair models. Those ladies who walked the ramp and walked the runway in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. This Ebony Fashion Fair is the longest running fashion theater show in the history of the United States of America. It is an icon in itself. Don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. So you are being honored at this
I'm
year's.
being honored.
Yes,
I'm being honored. I am just
congratulations.
because I feel like I'm being honored. I am being honored by my family. I'm being honored by my family, the Ebony Fashion Show, the Ebony Fashion Fair, the ladies in the front, the ladies in the back, the ladies in front of the camera, the glam squad. Because my first job in the industry was the Ebony Fashion Fair. That was my very first professional job, going to be interviewed by Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Johnson for the Ebony Fashion Fair. It kicked my career off. I never would have had the career that I've had without going through the process of being an Ebony Fashion Fair model. You were held to the highest standards because you were representing the #1 magazine for it went on, well, it's still here, in the history of the world that represented my people in America.
Absolutely.
So
and what were your takeaways?
It was just an incredible journey for me, and I know it was for so many of the ladies who traveled with the Ebony Fashion Fair. I think, Faye, you traveled with them for what?
I absolutely traveled with them.
6 years?
1983, 1984. That was my tour year. We have models that toured multiple years, but I was out there 1983, 84.
Wow.
And one thing about the Ebony Fashion Fair, it eliminated color-coded casting. It would have a rainbow of colors for the women who were in the Ebony Fashion Fair, from very fair skin to dark chocolate. So it was, to me, a beauty revolution within our culture, where they traveled to small cities, the big cities, and in many of the small cities, they had never seen African American women in designers in Dior, Chanel, dressed and the most like they walked off the pages of a magazine.
Right.
It changed what was beautiful in America, and I've always so appreciated. And everyone should come out and see. I call them the icons of fashion, the ladies who tipped down that runway for Ebony Fashion Fair. Please come and see it. Ebony Fashion Fair and Ebony Magazine truly blessed so many of the women. Some are doctors now and educators and lawyers and still in the world of fashion. And Miss Faye here was able, she is the, how can I say, the wind, the arrow, the spear that really set this off. She is a lady who had a vision, had a dream. She wanted to bring all of these ladies together from all of these decades. And we're talking about maybe 400 and something ladies Miss Faye has found within the United States.
Find them.
And
Wow.
they're just fabulous. Just fabulous women.
Well, let me ask you, you mentioned color-coded casting. What was your experience coming out of your Ebony Fashion Fair experience and going into the film industry? How were you affected? What did you take with you from this experience of touring the world and into the Hollywood experience?
Well, I also had worked between the two. I worked as a model, and I was the first face of Pepsi-Cola, continuing face of nationally of Pepsi-Cola. Mr. Johnson asked me to be the first face on television doing the commercials for Fashion Fair, cosmetics, and how can I just say, numerous products, all the way to Polaroid camera. If you bought a Polaroid camera, I was the color girl. If you opened the package, I was there. So
wow.
It was once I went into the world of acting, which was also very, very much responsible with Ebony Magazine, because the persons from Columbia Studios saw me in Ebony Magazine. And I was under contract to Columbia Studios and 20th Century Fox, and the first to have a 3-movie deal with starring with American International. But I was usually cast as the bad girl, but I was just happy to be cast. That's part of the color coded. If you're dark brown, you're going to be bad. I was the first black villainess on television, and the first black family of television called Peyton Place with Ruby Dee and Glenn Turman. On Cotton Comes to Harlem, I was the villainess. One time I was the good girl. On my own TV series called The Young Lawyers, I was the good girl. I was the young lawyer. And it was the first TV series where the title of the show was that of an African-American actress in drama. So the color coding, you see it everywhere. It's dark brown women, but my time, you weren't even supposed to be the pretty one. when I started in the business, you were either very honey-colored or very, very fair in order to be the pretty one. But today, I'm happy to say it has somewhat changed.
And
there is a
but what would
rainbow
you
of
say to the
color.
girls who are still experiencing it? Do you have any?
Well, there was a situation. There is a situation where Screen Actors Guild, that's our union, and AFTRA, that's our union for those in front of the camera, actors and actresses, could not figure out why dark brown women in the industry could not get agents, could not get managers, could not get jobs. And they created a situation called a chocolate. And they had seminars to figure it out. They asked me to come and maybe speak to the young girls, and Nichelle Nichols from Star Trek and Anna Marie Horsford. We chocolate ladies came and talked to them. And we explained to them that sometimes it is what it is. That's just what it is. And you just have to keep knocking on that door. You just have to keep presenting yourself. Don't get discouraged. Just keep going forward, and you're just going to have a tougher job. You're going to be female, that's one strike. African American, that's another strike. And you're dark brown, so you're going to have to deal with all three of them and just keep on trucking. That's it. We did it in the 60s, and you just have to continue to do it now. The door is wider. It's not to that extreme anymore. It's much, much wider. My daughter's an actress. She starred on The Young and the Restless as Sophia Dupree, first dark brown, full-figured woman to have love interests and to be wealthy. So it has changed. It has changed. And I have to say this. The images that we saw and see in Ebony Magazine was part of the reason that these situations changed.
Absolutely.
It's continuing to change, and all things don't happen overnight. Sometimes it takes a couple of decades or a couple of centuries. We never know. We've still got problems, and we all working on them. So, but I think, and I do know for a fact that it was Ebony that created this whole beauty revolution for African American women. That magazine took us on quite a journey, and it continues to take us on a journey. And I hope everyone comes out and will witness the ladies from the Ebony Fashion Fair. But one of the most important elements that Faye created is the scholarship program.
Yeah.
There is no other entity that is there to assist, help, mentor those going into the world of fashion, not as the model, maybe some are, but as the one who's the creator of the fashion, those who are going to market, those who are going to be in advertising, those who are going to be in retail, those who want to own their own line, their own shop, and just be that fabulous, Chanel. We might have a brown Chanel around here. We might have a Dior, but we need the assistance. Or we have wonderful black designers who are going to be in the show, who are there to mentor, to help. So there's no other place. We are it that's strictly to help those of diversity in the world of fashion.
Awesome.
And it's just, everybody's getting scholarships for doctors, lawyers, and teachers, which is so necessary. But there is that entity called the world of fashion.
Yep, our creative.
That's one of
right.
Exactly. You see it every day. You witness it all day long. Every time you walk into a mall, you're in it.
Absolutely.
Listen, it's a $3 trillion industry.
$3 trillion
industry, and they only spend a couple of $100 million marketing to people of color,
and we spend the most money.
And we spend an enormous amount of money. Exactly.
As Ms. Pace mentioned, how important the mentorship is. That was going to be my next segue. Is just to ask you. I understand that that's a big part of your mission with Flair.
Absolutely.
But what exactly? Let me back up. Who mentored you?
Who mentored me? Many, many, many women and men down in Jackson, Mississippi, as I mentioned. My mother, my sisters, my aunts. People took you in the community, your neighbors. As I mentioned, Jackie and Camille Chin with Winter Breeze. Actually, my most influential in terms of fashion and design was none other than Shayla Simpson. She's one of our honorees. Shayla mentored and nurtured so many of us. She was on tour as a commentator and buyer with Ebony Fashion Fair for 16 years. And you talk about the impact that she had on the men and women that toured under her years, similar to Audrey Smaltz, similar to Pamela Fernandez or Jada Jackson. But for me, it was Shayla. I remember my audition. I remember walking into that room, looking at John and Eunice Johnson and about 10 other executives from Ebony Fashion Fair having to walk across the ballroom, the conference room, wearing a two-piece bikini so they could see your body in its natural state for the most part, and then having to change into another outfit and do the same audition, and looking at their faces and their expressions similar to the reality shows. And they didn't wait. They didn't hold or bite their tongue. They basically gave you the feedback when you came back across on the other side, and you knew. But to hear your name called out of thousands and thousands of women and men that audition, as I said, and only 10 are selected, and we were considered the most beautiful, gorgeous men and women. You had to be 5'9" just to audition. So to be selected was even more of an accomplishment. I mean, it just was an amazing, amazing experience that changed the trajectory for anyone that actually was on tour or participated in Ebony Fashion Fair. They will tell you, as Richard Roundtree and Judy Pace say, it was the most impactful experience of their careers.
Absolutely. When Faye speaks of 5'9", when I'm at a convention for the Ebony Fashion Fair models, I feel like I'm a munchkin. I'm only 5'5". That's because I came in. I'm
4'11"
show in 1962.
Wow.
1962, and they wouldn't hold their words. After I did my first 2 shows in 62, I was fired.
I was going to ask you, ladies, and that's a great point, because nowadays you can barely mentor. You can barely mentor the people who are coming behind us. What would you say to people who are looking?
Absolutely, but the Johnsons did this. They said I look like a little girl in my mother's clothes. Great model, form is fabulous. But I did look like a little girl. I was only 19, and they promised they were bringing me back, and they were going to have a whole line for me, and I would be the young image of the fashion fair, and they absolutely did do that. And there were the women that I traveled with, because I'm 19, I'm the youngest, 19 years old, 20 years old. They were older than me. Terry Springer was a fabulous mentor. Yes. My mentor within the industry was Miss Dale Nichols from Star Trek.
My goodness.
Magnificent. I've known her since I was 14.
Let me ask Botany, excuse me, Miss Pace. Let me ask Botany really quick. And thank you so much for joining the show, Judy Pace. I mean, we are so honored to have you on and to get your insight. And just, I'm so excited to see you being honored and celebrating your body of work as both an actress and a model. So thank you for joining us. Botany, I wanted to talk a little more about mentorship. We only have a few minutes left, but today's culture, right. Everybody wants information, but they don't really want to put in the work.
Yeah.
What would you say to young designers coming behind you who are looking for mentorship? What to come equipped with?
Definitely come equipped with grit, perseverance. Just, you have to have the perseverance. I remember I wanted to get into fashion styling. I researched all the fashion styling agencies, and I picked one, the Crystal Agency. I called and called and called her for months.
Crystal Wright, a
Crystal
good friend.
Wright, yes.
Crystal
I love her. She's so amazing.
With us with Flair, absolutely.
Oh, she is? Mm-hmm. Yay. I called her for months. She was like, oh, I'm busy. Oh, I don't have, space right now. Oh, I'll let you know when I have space. But I kept calling her. One day she called me. She was like, I remember you calling me, and it said, let me call that girl that's been calling me all this time. And it was like months later, she was like, do you want to intern? I was like, yes. She's like, can you be at my office at 7 on Monday? I took the train to her office. I didn't have a car back then. I got there at 7 a.m. and I learned so much from her. So you definitely have to be willing to put in the work, do whatever it takes. And that was one of the best mentorship experiences that I've had.
Wow.
And,
you did something some people don't want to do. You did not take a no.
Not at all.
Exactly.
I'll never take a no.
That is one of the most important elements. Don't take the no.
Never.
Just keep on moving.
Absolutely. Keep on moving. Faye, in your mission with mentoring,
Yes.
what do you hope that these young people take away on Friday and Saturday from this experience?
I want them to show up and have an open mind, and most take away that you can do it. If you can dream it, you can achieve it, have a vision, create a plan.
Yeah.
Build your network,
Okay.
and do what it takes. As I heard earlier, put in the work. But I think showing up is the first part.
Absolutely.
Show up on Friday. Show up on Saturday. Meet men and women that have walked the journey that you are now trying to embark upon, and hear their stories. Learn from their mistakes. Learn from their lessons. Understand what they invested to get to where they are now. And make sure that those of us that have achieved levels of success send the elevator back down.
Yes,
so that
yes,
others can come
absolutely.
up. I mean, and that's important. And what I also want to stress to the audience that's listening is it's important for Flair. We are starting out building this brand. We've reached out to a lot of people to ask for support, and a lot of sponsors to support us. We're talking about the legacy. We're talking about the significance of mentoring and educating the youth on this legacy, so that we are not erased. And I want everyone that's listening to understand that you can't do any of this without funding. And so for Flair, I'd like to take a moment, if I can,
Please.
to really thank those sponsors that came to the table when I made the call, and those are OSI, Orthopedic Sciences, Inc., owned by a black physician by the name of Dr. James Brannon, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Sony PlayStation, U.S. Bank, Union Bank, Xerox, Mercedes-Benz of Beverly Hills. We have wonderful in-kind donations coming from Los Angeles Trade Tech, celebrating 90 years. On La Vie Signature Productions, they are actually our fashion show producers, owned by one of the partners is a former Ebony Fashion Fair models. They are producing this wonderful fashion show that's going to rock the house. Now in Zen Productions, they are the event producers for the show. The Baker Group, Tammy Baker, an amazing event management company. They are handling the guest registration aspects. We have so many wonderful people that came to the table when we made the call, and it's important that everyone understand that you have to recognize those sponsors that are giving back and supporting these type of events in our community that promote and educate our history. So I thank those sponsors that I just mentioned. We appreciate you, and we look forward to having your support as we grow and move forward, celebrating this legacy and educating and mentoring and giving back to these students in this manner through scholarships.
Give us the link again for people who want to purchase.
Again, that's www.flairflairinc.org. www.flairInc.org.
And where can people find you, Botany, and what do you have coming up?
People can find me on www.iamazandman.com. IamBotany.com, or they can find me on Instagram under B as in beautiful, A, T as in time, A, N as in Nancy, I, K as in king, H, A, L, F as in Frank, A, N, I. Botany Kalfani, or type me in on Google and you'll find me places. But yeah, what I have coming up, Project Runway is coming up, more from my blog, I Am Botany. I have a lot of different things coming up right now, so I'm just excited for it all. More commercials, a lot of things.
Awesome. Well, I will
just real quick.
Yes,
this is Judy Pace. I have something coming up, and I want everybody to watch. It's a new TV series that I'm co-starring in called Beauty and the Baller. It is on BET Centric. It premieres on July the 22nd. It comes on at 8. It's going to be 2 episodes shown for the next number of weeks. And it is a situation comedy, and I would love for everyone to tune in. And I love comedy, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. And also, I am now working with Major League Baseball Players Association. That's the union for the baseball players. I'm their ambassador, and we do all kinds of charity work throughout the United States and throughout the world, from China to the Dominican Republic. So that's what I'm doing now, and I want everybody to watch the show.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you all so much for tuning
And
in to the dialogue today.
Yes.
I'd also like to thank my guests, Faye Mosley, Judy Pace, and Botany Calfani, my show engineer, Richard Carr, and of course, I would like to thank my friend and mentor, Starlett Quarles, for asking me to host today's show. Thank you again for tuning in to the Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, and it's your girl, Kenya K. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. We'll see everyone at
I'll see you next week. See you next weekend.
Thank you for tuning into LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network, original reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Stay tuned.